I wanted to do a video on the fascist concepts of these people. I remember in 1984 is probably the best example of everything these people do. Big Brother, cameras everywhere, everybody's paranoid, everybody's scared, everybody's in a constant state of anxiety. Why? Everybody lives in the amygdala, the baboon brain. It is an FBI thing to say and a CIA thing to say that everybody's an animal and everybody behaves like animals. Think like Joker and Batman. Once the chips are down, these people will eat each other. The fact of the matter is, he's not wrong. But there's always a caveat to everything. Nothing's ever an absolution and nothing's ever for certain. So let's talk about it. One of the philosophies of these people is basically everybody will act in self-interest, and everybody should just do whatever it is they want without any fear of consequences or agency in anything, which is an extremely dangerous fucking aspect of anything. But when it comes to people living in the amygdala, it is strictly a fastidious thing. Fastidious means you make it true and then say it is true. Kind of like Blondie did to me down here. Showed me a bunch of videos that made me feel scared and insecure. Made me scared and insecure by poisoning me with heavy metals, and in that delusional, neurotoxic state, my fear and anger became one, and my emotions fused together, and I became extremely emotionally volatile. And then he convinced me that I was defective, that I was a coward and all these other things, simply by showing me a bunch of videos that damaged my neurons and made it impossible to develop. Yeah. Pretty crazy, right? That's not the half of it. It gets crazier. These people poison you with the tetralead. The tetralead shrinks your halo brain. When your brain loses that gray matter, that means a larger percent of your brain is made up by the amygdala. Ooh, fun, right? And the amygdala becomes stricken. Now, most of your brain becomes more amygdala. And this is why these people kept poisoning me with heavy metals, because they wanted me to live in the amygdala, the fear brain. And it didn't work for the longest time. Well, this isn't about me. This is about them and their Fistion. So, they go, everybody's a baboon. Everybody just wants to have sex and drugs. All you want to do is have sex and drugs. And then they take away your right to have sex. They will murder any woman you want. And then you become a sexually aggressive person because they're taking away something that is rightfully yours. You feel a form of entitlement to. But why do they do this? Because they feel entitled to everything. Because they believe they're superior. And we're going to talk about the defects of believing you're superior. Like Blondie said, they want you to feel bad about yourself. No psychologist wants you to feel bad about yourself. When somebody believes they're superior, the first thing that happens is entitlement. That belongs to me, and I'm going to get it at all costs. It doesn't matter who I poison, who I have to kill, who I have to destroy. I want that thing. It's mine. It was mine to begin with. Okay. When I was president of these people, this came up a lot because I would ask people for things, and the wives would go, "Why are you asking for it? Just take it. It belongs to you." These people, a narcissist does not know where they end and you begin. Everything is property, and when you're president of these people, all women on the planet are your property. This is a fact. When you have a delusional sense of superiority, you cannot connect with people because you believe you're a creature all unto yourself. This makes every interaction superficial. And when you're constantly living in fear, all you desire is control, which results in these people doing unspeakably stupid and dangerous things to their brain in order to get that control, which results in a disingenuous facade that's fun to watch on TV and superficial in person. But you never actually get to know the creature that's hiding underneath, the insecure, scared, inferiority complex, weak person that's severely emotionally stunted. And What do we know about people? This is the turning point in the video, by the way, because I just went over all the horrible stuff. And I've read that paper, Emotionally Stunted, probably a couple hundred times on my page. Limited lack of empathy, lack of guilt and remorse, thinks of themselves first. Fucking everything's what it feels like versus what it is. The whole shebang. I haven't memorized it, but I've read it enough. So they're severely emotionally stunted. They think like 2-year-olds, and they think everybody thinks like 2-year-olds. But that's not enough. They have to make you fit what they believe. A big part of Blondie's bullshit down here was driving home my own. Yeah, it was an inferiority complex. He tried. And then he drove home that I was insecure, and then he was like, oh, you're a coward. But what made me a coward? It was the neurotoxicity from the mercury and tetralead they put in my brain, which caused my fear and anger to fucking conflict and caused me to have a seizure when I acted with courage. I am not a coward. I was a person who was programmed to be a coward through a bunch of bullshit that Blondie did. Okay. This is once again Fistion. They come across you, and I'm going to tell you this, you can do this with anybody. Anybody. They find a minor flaw and then go, this is what you are, 100%. There's no need to get a second opinion. There's nothing else. This is just what you are because I said that. And then they prove it to you by making shit up. Completely falsifying information and lying. Me and the cinema guys will never get along because they're like, oh, you can be a narcissist but a good person. No, you can't be a narcissist and a good person. The natures of a narcissist are toxic in general. They are poisonous. Being emotionally stunted is dangerous to be if you're around normal human beings, because normal human beings, with their fully developed halo brain, practice sympathy and empathy. A narcissist does not practice sympathy and empathy. A narcissist cannot admit when they're wrong. That is why nobody in this church can say the word, I'm sorry. Because it means admitting fault. And it means admitting you're not superior. It means admitting that you're a human fucking being. Which is something nobody in this church can do. They can't deal with the reality that there's just some person. They have to be something more. Because they are the worst type of inferiority complexes. They're superiority complexes. Yeah. So, I think about this time and time again. When I was in Ackworth, I spoke to a girl whose father was a narcissist. And he convinced her that she was one of his emotions. Because that's how he could not distinct himself from everyone else. His own daughter had to obviously be a part of him, and it was clearly one of his emotions. He just didn't know which one. Oh no, he knew which one. She told me. She's like happiness or something. You see, with a disgusting narcissist, the game becomes, when you make them insecure, when you make them feel seen, they become terrified. And this is the thing, the inverted mirror. Anal eating mummy god story. A kid's being attacked by a dragon, and Knight steps in to save him, and the Knight kills the dragon, and then the kid kills the Knight because he goes, you're trying to steal my glory. You're trying to steal my fame. I'm jealous. That is what the word is. Okay? If you ever find yourself hating things that are perfect, the word you mean to say is, you're jealous. And you don't know, and you can't deal with the reality that you're jealous. Okay? If you ever find yourself going, I hate that person, he's perfect, you're jealous. Okay. And you need to weigh whether you're jealous or if you legitimately feel an injustice. And with narcissists, it's not real injustice, it's perceived injustice. Blondie came out with a stellar plan to try and trick me into killing myself over Carolina Herrera. Fun fact, when dealing with Carolina Herrera, I kept telling her to run, I kept telling her to hide, and I kept telling Blondie to stop fucking trying to kill her. He didn't stop. He tracked her down. And when he got her, he wanted me to kill myself. And he thought I was going to kill myself. And that's when I said, I have nothing to do with this. This is all you. And he said, what? And then he said some word, and I repeated it back to him, and he shot and killed her. Because he thought he had a superior plan. And it didn't work. And it didn't work because he didn't understand me. And this is the truth about all narcissists. They don't actually understand people. They're just extremely manipulative and quick to adapt to the manipulation. Changing stories, changing frames. Everything is fictitious. It is the 1984 when they make up history, they make up alliances, they make up everything. It is all lies. And then they go, somewhere in between the lies and chaos is good. And they go, look, just because I do all the bad things in the wrong way and I dick everybody over, I don't deserve to be dead. Like, you don't fucking get it. You don't get it. You see, you don't do the wrong things to begin with because the wrong things are the things that make you untrustworthy to begin with. That's why you don't do them to begin with. Okay. And when you haphazardly do the wrong thing, you make everybody else around you nervous because they're not even sure if you're doing the right or wrong thing anymore, or if you can even tell the difference. Most narcissists can't. Oh. So, the whole idea, you are whatever I say you are. Okay, think of Blondie when I was at Papa John's. You're a drunk? No, I drink every now and then. You're a drunk. Like, you do this, and everything is an extreme with him because it's anything to take apart your character. It is anything to destroy you, and if they can't find something to destroy you, they can't find something to make you look like the bad guy, they'll create it by poisoning you with heavy metals and altering your psychology and giving you misinformation and lying and twisting the framework and what Gannon called controlling the narrative. Also what Officer Fred called controlling the narrative. Also what Danielle McGinnis called controlling the narrative. Controlling the narrative means lying. That's what controlling the narrative means. It means taking all the facts in the story and twisting them into an amalgamation that makes no fucking sense. And nobody on the planet can make it make sense. But the narcissist, it makes perfect sense because it's the thing that lets them get away. One of the things I do have is the original guy that started this church's memories. And they are disgusting, and they make you cringe at every moment. Every time this guy is backed into a corner, fake cries, points, blame, lies, anything. And it's so funny that these people are like, integrity, because this guy does not do any of those in anything he does, including lead. He does the wrong thing in every situation and screams he's the victim in it. Oh. He could not make the right decision if he had to. And his entitlements and his ego were so inflated they drove him insane. The same way Friedrich Nietzsche drove himself insane. This guy's personal beliefs drove him insane. And he grew crazier and crazier. When I was out there, I grew crazier and crazier. Because a normal person would be demented. And in these guys' brain, this is a badge of honor. If a normal person is driven insane by the acts of being the president. And clearly the president is a superior being for not being insane to begin with. I don't agree with that notion. I don't agree with that motion. I do not agree with that notion. I will not agree with that notion. I cannot agree with that notion. It's a fact. Yeah. What am I getting at here? The narcissist is toxic in every form you could imagine. When a narcissist tells you something about somebody, you should tell them to get the fuck out of your life. You shouldn't let them anywhere near you. And here's a really funny thing I learned recently. Self-hatred is a narcissistic trait because it involves you focusing on yourself. Uh, it involves you only hating yourself and dwelling on yourself. This creates a narcissistic relationship. When somebody is self centered, regardless if it's positive or negative, they are a narcissist. So you could call me a narcissist. Sure, why not? I have some of the traits. I lack a facade, though, so I'm really bad at hiding it. My bad. Now I don't feel such rage and hatred. I watch my YouTube videos, the raging, the psychopathy, as I just make mistake after mistake after mistake because my brain is unwell. And I feel sorrow. That's what I feel. I feel sorrow. I feel sorrow for a guy that is working as hard as he can and has no fucking clue that his brain is not working right to begin with. Fear and anger have become one in his mind, and that leads to psychopathy. That is what psychopathy looks like. If you don't believe a narcissist can make you feel an emotion, they can. If you don't believe they can place you under hypnosis, they can. If you don't believe 90% of the shit I talk about on my page, you're a fool. I hope you guys enjoyed this rant. I hope it did a good job at picking this kind of stuff apart. Yeah.